All right. Hey, I am Trent Cotton with iSense, the head of talent insights and analyst relations. And with me, I've got Jeff with Warden AI, and we're going to talk about AI. All right. So, Jeff, why don't you tell us? I know you did a study earlier in the year. Can you just kind of set the scene for everybody? Get them caught up.
Sure, yeah. So at Warden, we audit and certify AI systems are fair and compliant. So we're really deep on AI compliance and AI fairness. We did a really cool report that went really deep on the state of AI bias and talent acquisition. We've had loads of interesting insights. One of the most interesting ones and surprising for some people is that we compared AI fairness or AI bias to human recruiter bias and fairness.
Okay.
Controversial. And we actually find that potentially, at least based on the data we have, that AI actually does better than humans on this topic. So that was an interesting insight in that report.
I am so glad you brought that up because to me, we were talking to someone else earlier today about high volume hiring. And, you know, the problem at the top of the funnel is that you have really good candidates that are getting lost in the muck. And humans can't scale being able to get in and pull out those necessary successful skills that are going to kind of transcend the job, right? I kind of see AI really kind of bringing some of those people out and elevating them. Does the data support that?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily go in as granularly on that particular
Right.
question, but certainly we can see that AI can be more consistent and certainly more scalable than human-based processes. There are obviously some risks associated, right? You know, we know there's a lot of studies that does show that AI can be, you know, it can hallucinate, it can be biased, but those are not definitive, right? It can do those things, but if it's, you know, maturely developed and deployed properly with, you know, the right guardrails, etc., we're seeing that it can actually outperform humans in many cases as well.
That's awesome, yeah. And speaking of guardrails, I'm just going to do a very shameless plug. If you go to our YouTube channel, look for iSims. We've got a fireside chat with our Chief Product Officer because we actually are one of the few that are actually licensed by TrustArc for having responsible AI. And we actually got Eric, our CPO, to go through the responsible AI framework. And it kind of surprises me how few tech firms actually have something like that. You start there and then run everything else through, right?
Yeah, so there's a number of different approaches to governance and compliance guardrails. I think TrustArc is a kind of process-based governance framework, which is really good to help structure, I guess, as an organization, how you're like building AI. There's also kind of another angle to this that more in line with what we do. There's external validation, like external monitoring and testing how the AI actually behaves. So that's an approach we do, and, you know, work with quite a lot of the vendors here. So yeah, we're seeing a lot more, I guess, concerns around AI compliance and trust, and we're seeing more solutions come into place. But to your point, it's early days, and many vendors and organizations, it's amazing how little they have in place in many scenarios, even though we're using AI at scale, you know, all over the place. So it's definitely something that needs to be done more, I think.
You know, and it's kind of funny. Would you give a new recruiter full access to everything without any kind of training, without having a one-on-one, without auditing their trail? Like, if you're not going to do that with a human, why would you not do that with AI? It's just, I don't know. To me, it's common sense, right?
Right.
So tell us a little bit more about Warden.
Sure, yeah. So as I was saying, we support with some of these AI compliance concerns. In particular, we do AI auditing as a third party through a platform. So we become connected to, you know, high risk AI systems like resume screeners, AI interviewers, AI sourcers, you know, these sorts of tools. And our platform is essentially evaluating how they behave in reality.
Okay.
Not just looking at processes, but looking at the technical behavior of those systems.
Interesting.
Using, you know, I guess quite technical, but using a mix of real and synthetic data, a mix of our own data sets that we've put together along with data that we might get from the platform, and put all that into you know, dashboards and reports that let the end user, the end customer, look into the system and see how it behaves and whether they can trust it or not ultimately.
Oh, wow.
So that's our approach.
So what are some of the trends that you're seeing? I mean, you're looking at AI from a completely different angle than most people are accustomed to. Like, what are some of the things that you're seeing as becoming trends or things that should be trends?
That's a good question. We're certainly seeing a lot of activity with AI being used in you know, by vendors. We are seeing increasing adoption from enterprises, staffing agencies, etc. Probably lagging behind where people think they are in terms of the hype. That makes sense. You think, oh, everyone's using AI. Actually,
right.
like most enterprises are not using AI, at least not like high volume, kind of high risk AI systems, I would say. We're seeing, as we just touched on, AI compliance and like risk as a bit of an afterthought, but it is changing. Like we're definitely seeing a lot more, concern, questions, procurement processes relating to that, which from our point of view is a good thing. But overall, we're not seeing that slowing down adoption. Overall, we're seeing adoption is increasing, even though awareness and maturity around risk is also increasing.
Yeah.
So I think that's all good stuff.
Awesome. So if you were, I guess, like in a practitioner seat and you were trying to evaluate software and AI was a major component that you wanted to have in the software, what kind of questions should you be asking to the vendor to make sure that they've got everything in place to be able to protect you as a client?
Yeah, really good question. And tricky to very comprehensive to cover all that. But the main thing I would say is to become familiar with the main AI regulations that are emerging. Particularly in the US, key ones would be New York City's local law 144. California recently made an amendment to the Fairness in Employment and Housing Act that now extends those protections and requirements to AI systems in effect. Not many people know about that law. It just went into effect 2 weeks ago. But it's California. It's really important. So I would say get familiar with those. Ask the vendors what their status is on those regulations, what measures they have in place to mitigate risk, what audits they have to validate that from a third-party perspective, and potentially what measures they can offer you so that when you're deploying an AI tool, even if it's got its stuff together, to what extent can you manage and mitigate your use of using that tool and demonstrate to a regulator that you're doing everything you can as a practitioner to manage that. Obviously, you don't want to be building your own systems because that's going to be complicated, so you want your vendor to help you with that kind of audit trail, with that risk mitigation.
Yeah, and I think the audit trail is probably one of the most important things because things are changing so quickly. You need to be able to show, okay, this changed and we changed our policy. Here are the results, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So is this first time at RecFest, I'm assuming?
Is, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So what do you think? Kind of a cool...
It's really cool. It's really good to have a change from the over-oxygenated kind of casino floor of Vegas, which I love Vegas and great conferences there, but nice to have a change.
Vegas is not one of my favorites.
Right.
Yeah, I like that. It's nice and change, open. What do you think about anybody standing out to you, like coming by your booth, asking fun questions?
Yeah, we've had some good conversations. I mean, like we work with a lot of vendors here, so it's good to see a lot of our customers as well as leads and prospects. So just enjoying really walking around on the grass and chatting to people. It's the highlight for me so far.
It is. Those collisions every once in a while are fun. So if someone wanted to look at the report, like where would they get access to it?
Yep. So it's freely available online, no sign up required or anything like that. You can just head over to warden-ai.com and there's a clear call to action to download the report from there, which you can easily do, and 50 pages of fascinating insights to review, including a quote from Trent as well.
Yeah, I threw a quote in there, but I didn't read it just because I had a quote in there. I read it because I love the information. It's very well put out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. And
then in terms of like, do you guys do any type of like newsletters or anything else to kind of help continue to educate? Because this is a wonky topic and it's changing, like you just said, it's changing so fast.
Really fast, yeah. So we don't have a proactive newsletter. We do, whenever there's a meaningful industry update, like the Workday lawsuit or a new regulation, we do like a webinar on it. Okay. So I would say follow us on LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
And we'll post, meaningful content as and when we have it.
Awesome. And then, of course, they can find you on LinkedIn.
I'm on LinkedIn as well, yeah. Or if anyone wants to email me, it's jeff@warden-ai.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care.